also I watched can't remember his name, but the guy that Sean had on recently, that he had on twice in like a few months, talking about the Israeli influence in the government and stuff. How he wrote the book, We Are the Enemy. And I watched the first one that was a couple months ago before the war, and I started watching the one that he did like last week after the war started and whatnot. So I mean, it's fucking phenomenal. You know, the guy was a Marine in Desert Storm. You know, and learning a lot of crazy stuff. You know, that I never, of course, never knew about. You know, because you know how they say history is written by the winners. So of course you learn what you're taught, and you never know if it's really the truth. You get facets of the truth, right? But you get what they want you to know, right?
Like, who was it that was on?
Fuck, I guess I can't remember.
Is it who you think I'm thinking is right now?
That sentence made no fucking sense, you dumbass. Hang on, let me just
the
bring
individual
up this
I've been talking to about coming on.
No,
not Arvis.
No, dude, no.
Okay.
Where is he? Michael Lester.
Okay, yeah.
But no, because he was talking about how in Desert Storm, they were told while they were out there that the ammunition that they were given, like initially, they were like, "Hey, that's all you got. There is no resupply. There is no more. Period." Yeah. Because apparently, what had happened is that you know, there had been such a gap in you know, a war, right? Like without a conflict, right? So they had a mass stockpile of ammunition. And whereas Congress had always had a reauthorization of funding to buy more ammunition, you know, for the military, like, you know, kind of should. They were like, well, we can't buy more ammunition. We have a huge stockpile. So what we'll do is we'll offset. We won't buy more ammunition this year because we have a huge stockpile, and we'll just buy twice as much next year, right? Because we're going to set this funding aside for some whatever thing, right? But of course, what happens throughout the year? You still have training with live fire and stuff like that, whatever, that still uses up some ammunition, right? Yeah. Well, next year comes and they still have a huge stockpile because there's no new conflict. And they're like, wow, we still got a shit ton. So they're like, all right, we're going to set this funding aside. We're not going to buy any ammunition this year. We're going to buy 3 times as much next year, right? And next year comes along. They're like, we can't buy 3 times as much ammunition. They're like, well, like, we can't buy 3 times as much ammunition. That's a shit ton. So they're like, we'll buy a third of that, and then we'll just see whatever, like, you know, whatever, like, so they'll buy some, and, you know, they just still keep on offsetting all the stuff. Well, Desert Shield comes along, and then they go into
a deficit. Yeah,
they're fucked. But they can't let the enemy know that, because if the enemy knew that they were in a fucking ammo shortage, all the enemy would have had to do is just wait them out.
Yeah.
So I was like, dude, holy shit. We were close to being that fucked in Desert Shield or Desert Storm. Of course, you're never going to hear that. So, I mean, who knows? Because I also learned something new watching that Shawn Ryan episode with Michael Lester. Because the Iranian drone program, their type of drones they have, right? Very advanced, you know, drone for what they do. And they build them for like $20,000-$30,000, right?
Yeah.
And we shoot them down with a Tomahawk missile that costs $4 million per missile.
Yeah.
So it's a 200-to-1 ratio cost. That's fucking insane. That's fucking insane.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, they may not have the massive war machine that we do, but they're not far off from capability whenever to do what they need to do. So,
and they're balling on a budget. You know, honestly, they're balling on a budget. So, which, you know, and also if you think about all the money that you don't know about that's over there. We don't really know what they fucking have.
And one thing that Michael Lester brought up in his Shawn Ryan, like, well, of course, he's like, you know, you're not getting me to defend, you know, that the Iranian regime and government are done horrible things. So like you and I've said, yeah, they've done horrible things, right? Like they, you know, we don't defend that by any means, right?
Yeah.
But it's also like, hey, dude, that's not our problem. I'm sorry. Like that's their country. This is our country. We have shit that we need to deal with here. On top of that, you know, they're like, well, they shout death to America. I was like, well, yeah, we're over there fucking bombing them and doing shit to them. Why wouldn't they shout death to America?
And here we're fucking saying fuck all Muslims and kick out fucking Muslims from Texas and eradicate them and all that. What the fuck's the difference?
Yeah. And then they have, I think it's in Minneapolis, I think it was, there's even like radicalized Muslims up there that are shouting death to America. So it's like, well, they're here. So if you're going to have issues with shit like that, like I said, let's deal with shit here in our homeland. There are radicalized Muslims that are a danger and that need to be dealt with here in our country. Deal with it here. I don't care about what's going on over there. That is over there. That is their fucking problem. Okay.
Absolutely.
We have our issues here. There are bad actors and radicalized Muslims here that we should be dealing with. Just like there's radicalized Christians, radicalized Jewish, whatever fucking you believe in. I don't care what you believe in. There is radicalization across the spectrum on both sides of the aisle in every religion. They need to be fucking dealt with here. We need to get the illegal immigrants that are harming and taking from our fucking population on a high fraud level out of this goddamn country. And we need to deal with that shit fucking now here. Okay.
100%.
We do not need to be dealing and wasting taxpayers' money and fucking sending our sons and daughters, our brothers and sisters, our fathers, our mothers to die for something that has no benefit to us.
Most definitely.
You know, so annoying.
So